Captain Alex Ryder adjusted his helmet as the dropship descended slowly through the thick, violet clouds of the alien planet. From the windows he could see jagged mountains, glowing rivers, and enormous forests that seemed alive. This planet, known to the galaxy as Scifi, had always been rumored to hold treasures of advanced alien technology, and also danger. Many explorers had entered, but few had returned. Alex felt a shiver of excitement mixed with caution. "Keep your eyes open," he told his small crew. There were only 4 of them, humans like him, all trained for reconnaissance missions in uncharted worlds. They had landed on Scifi under orders from Earth's Galactic Command. Their mission was simple in theory: explore, gather data, and return. But the rumors of an alien palace, home to the legendary Queen Lyra, had made their mission anything but simple. The dropship landed on a flat area near a cliff. The wind howled around them, carrying the scent of strange metallic flowers. Alex stepped out, feeling the weight of the alien atmosphere on his lungs. He could see the palace in the distance. Its spires glittered like crystal, reflecting the light of Scifi's twin suns. The palace looked alive, almost breathing, as if it were waiting for him. "Alex," said Lieutenant Mara, his second in command, "are you sure this is a good idea? We barely know what's inside." Alex gave a small smile. "That's why we're here, Mara. If we never take risks, humans will never learn what's out there. And if there's anyone dangerous inside, I'll deal with them." Mara shook her head but followed. The team moved cautiously toward the palace, stepping over glowing moss and strange alien roots. Alex felt a strange thrill. Humans had always been curious, brave, and sometimes reckless, but it was that same courage that had allowed them to survive in the galaxy against impossible odds. He silently hoped the traits that made humans strong here would matter. When they reached the massive palace gates, Alex froze. The doors were carved from an unknown, shimmering metal, etched with symbols that seemed to move when he looked at them. The sheer size of the palace made the human crew feel small, almost insignificant. Alex carefully touched one of the symbols, and to his surprise, the door opened silently, as if inviting them inside. Inside, the palace was unlike anything he had ever seen. The walls glowed with soft light, changing color like liquid. Floating orbs drifted lazily through the halls. Strange plants with crystalline petals hung from the ceiling. Every step echoed, and the air felt alive. Alex motioned for his crew to stay close. They walked through corridors that twisted in ways that made their heads spin. Alex's heart raced. "Stay focused," he whispered. There could be traps, but also answers. As they reached the central hall, Alex's breath caught in his throat. At the far end of the room, seated on a throne that seemed to float above the ground, was a figure. She was taller than any human, with golden skin that shimmered like liquid metal. Her hair flowed like silk, and her eyes glowed softly, calm yet piercing. The queen's robe sparkled, adorned with symbols that seemed alive, moving like they had a mind of their own. Alex whispered under his breath, almost afraid to speak aloud. She's the most stunning queen I've ever seen." He did not expect her to respond, yet slowly, deliberately, she turned her head toward him. Her gaze locked onto his, and for a moment time seemed to stand still. Alex's heart pounded in his chest. The queen's eyes were intelligent, deep, and curious. She did not show anger or fear, only a calm assessment. Mara nudged him. "Alex, maybe we should—" "Not yet," he whispered back. "Watch carefully." The queen rose from her throne with the elegance of someone who ruled not by force but by presence. Her movements were fluid, almost unreal. She took a step forward, and her guards, who had been silent statues along the walls, shifted slightly, watching Alex. Alex did not move. He knew any wrong action could mean their death. Yet he felt something different here. Something in the queen's presence told him she was not like other rulers he had met. She was not cruel or harsh, at least not in this moment. The queen stopped a few meters from him. She studied him quietly, tilting her head. Alex realized she was assessing him, trying to understand why a human had dared to enter her palace. Humans were known in some parts of the galaxy as primitive, reckless, and small-minded. She must have been curious why one of them had survived this far. Alex swallowed hard. "I'm Captain Alex Ryder," he said, keeping his voice calm. "We come in peace. We are explorers." The queen raised an eyebrow, her expression unreadable. Then slowly she nodded once. "Explorers," she said, her voice melodic but commanding. "Very well. You may speak. But do not attempt to deceive me, human. Alex bowed slightly, a gesture of respect he hoped she would understand. "We only wish to learn, Your Majesty. Your people, your world. The galaxy has much to know, and we seek knowledge, not conquest." For a moment she simply stared at him, her eyes piercing through the calm facade he tried to maintain. Then unexpectedly she spoke again. "Few humans have the courage to enter this hall. Fewer still can speak without fear. You interest me." Alex felt a surge of surprise. Interest from a being like her was more valuable than gold. "Thank you, Your Majesty," he said carefully. The Queen turned slightly as if signaling her guards to relax. She gestured toward a smaller chamber. "Come, speak there. We will see if your words match your actions." Alex motioned to his team and they followed her cautiously. Every step they took was filled with tension and awe. The palace seemed alive, reacting subtly to their movements. Even the air felt charged, like it held secrets waiting to be discovered. In the private chamber, the Queen stopped and faced him fully. "Tell me, human," she said, her voice softening slightly. "Why do you come to Zephyra? What is it that drives your kind to risk so much?" Alex paused. He thought about Earth, about human history, about countless generations who had survived disasters, wars, and impossible odds. "We humans, we survive because we do not give up," he said honestly. "We explore because we hope to learn, and sometimes because we believe the impossible can be done, even when others say it cannot." The Queen studied him, silent for what felt like an eternity. Then she smiled faintly, almost imperceptibly. "Perhaps there is more to humans than I was told." Alex felt a small thrill. He had made the first impression. He did not know what the Queen planned, or if she would ever trust him fully. But for now, he had survived the first encounter, and more importantly, he had caught her attention. Outside, the palace hummed quietly as if approving. Alex knew this was only the beginning. There were mysteries to uncover, challenges to face, and perhaps a bond to form that could change the galaxy in ways no one expected. And as he looked at the Queen one last time before the door closed behind them, he whispered again to himself, "She's truly the most stunning queen I've ever seen." Her slow, deliberate turn toward him was the beginning of something extraordinary. Alex Rider followed Queen Lyra through the shimmering corridors of her palace. The walls seemed alive, glowing softly as if aware of their presence. Every step echoed like a whisper, and the air smelled faintly of metals and flowers. His crew followed cautiously, keeping their eyes open for any danger. The Queen led them to a large chamber with walls covered in moving symbols. The symbols shifted and changed as if telling a story, but Alex could not read them. Lyra stopped in the center and turned to face him. "Captain Ryder," she said, her voice calm but commanding. "To prove your worth, you must face the trials of Zephyra. Only then will you earn my trust." Alex's pulse quickened. Trials? He had faced challenges before, but something about this palace made him uneasy. "I accept," he said firmly. "Tell me what I must do." Lyra's eyes narrowed slightly as if studying his courage. "There are 3 trials. The first tests your mind, the second your agility, and the third your heart. Fail any, and you may never leave this palace alive." Alex felt a chill, but he forced himself to remain calm. Humans had always survived against odds that seemed impossible. He would face these trials just like every challenge before, step by step, carefully and boldly. The first trial. The maze of symbols, Lyra gestured, and a part of the chamber split open to reveal a glowing doorway. "Enter the maze of symbols. Solve its puzzle to proceed." Alex stepped inside. The maze was a vast, shifting grid of glowing paths and moving walls. Symbols floated in the air, constantly changing. At first he was disoriented, but then he remembered something crucial. Humans were known for creativity, not just strength. He examined the patterns slowly, noting which symbols repeated and which moved together. Hours, or maybe minutes. Time felt strange passed. Alex carefully traced the correct paths, stepping only when he was certain. At a critical point, the floor began to shift beneath him. Panels dropped away, revealing glowing energy pits below. Without hesitation, he leapt from panel to panel, keeping his balance perfectly. Finally, he reached the center where a small pedestal held a crystal that pulsed with light. He picked it up and the maze dissolved around him. He had succeeded in the first trial. The second trial, the Hall of Agility back in the main chamber, Lyra nodded once. "You have passed the first test. Now the Hall of Agility awaits. You must move faster than your fears." Alex entered the hall. It was long and filled with shifting platforms, swinging beams and sudden traps. He could feel the air vibrating as energy pulses shot. After completing the trials, Captain Alex Ryder felt a strange mix of relief and excitement. He had survived the maze of symbols, the Hall of Agility, and the Chamber of Choices. 3 tests that would have defeated most beings in the galaxy. Yet here he was, standing in the heart of Queen Lyra's palace, still alive and even. Being acknowledged. The Queen had instructed him to follow her to the palace gardens, a place he had only glimpsed from a distance before. Now, walking among glowing plants and floating orbs, Alex could see the true beauty of Zephyra. The flowers seemed almost alive, bending toward the air as if greeting them. The soft light from the twin suns bathed the paths in warm hues, and the air was fresh, unlike anything he had ever experienced. "You have done well," Lyra said, her voice calm but carrying weight. "Few would have survived my trials. Your kind is unpredictable." Alex paused, choosing his words carefully. "We humans have always faced impossible odds. We survive because we don't give up. We adapt. We take risks, but we do so with thought. That's how we've endured." Lyra regarded him silently, her golden eyes reflecting curiosity. She had observed countless beings in her life, but humans. They were different, small, fragile in appearance, yet bold, intelligent, and capable of extraordinary courage. She could see that Alex was not only brave, but also thoughtful, careful, and yet willing to take calculated risks. "You speak as though you understand more than your size allows," she said softly. "Most creatures are limited by instinct or fear. You seem limitless in comparison." Alex smiled faintly. "Humans survive by thinking ahead. We don't rely solely on strength or speed or fear. We rely on each other, and sometimes we rely on courage no one else expects." Lyra's lips curved into a faint smile. For the first time, Alex saw warmth in her expression, a hint of something beyond formality or curiosity. It was subtle, almost imperceptible, but it made his heart race. They walked further into the garden, passing glowing pools and crystalline trees. "Tell me more of your world," Lyra said. "Your species, your home, your struggles." "I wish to know why you are so different," Alex nodded. "Earth is far from here, but it has taught us much. Humans have survived wars, disasters, and countless dangers. We explore, learn, and create, even when the universe seems against us. That is why we reach out, why we travel, and why we face danger like this." Lyra listened intently. Her gaze remained steady, and yet Alex could feel a flicker of admiration. Few beings spoke with such conviction, with such honesty about themselves. Humans often underestimated themselves, yet they were remarkable. He embodied the traits of his species: courage, ingenuity, and a will that refused to break. "You speak truly," she said. "Many claim bravery, but few show it without pride or arrogance. You do not boast. You act," Alex shrugged lightly. "I only do what must be done. Boasting doesn't help anyone survive." Lyra laughed softly, a sound like gentle chimes. "Perhaps there is more to your kind than even I imagined." The Queen's curiosity. Over the next few days, Alex was allowed more freedom within the palace. He explored hidden chambers, studied alien artifacts, and observed the palace staff. Every moment was a learning experience, and every detail fascinated him. Yet it wasn't the palace or the technology that captivated him most. It was Queen Lyra herself. She moved with elegance, spoke with wisdom, and carried authority effortlessly. Yet beneath the regal exterior, Alex sensed curiosity, perhaps even loneliness. She had ruled for centuries, but she had rarely encountered beings like humans. Her interest in him was not just political, it was personal. One evening, as the twin suns set and cast long shadows across the palace gardens, Lyra approached Alex while he examined a glowing plant. "You are different," she said quietly. "Most visitors fear me. Some ignore me. You observe, you learn, and yet you remain unafraid. Why?" Alex looked up, meeting her gaze. "Because I believe in doing what is right, not what is easy. Fear may exist, but it doesn't control me. And because I see you not just as a queen, but as a person. And people, even powerful ones, are not something to fear. They are to understand." Lyra studied him silently. His answer was unexpected. Most creatures either bowed in fear or tried to deceive her. Alex, he was honest, brave, and wise. Perhaps humans were not primitive, as many in the galaxy believed. Perhaps they were extraordinary. "You are bold for a human," she said finally. "But your words, they hold truth." I am curious about your species now. And about you. Alex felt a flush of pride and surprise. I am glad, Your Majesty. And I am curious about you as well. About your world, your people, and you. Lyra's golden eyes softened slightly. Few have ever spoken to me like this. Perhaps that is why I watch you. With more than curiosity. An unexpected friendship days turned into weeks. Alex continued to explore, learn, and assist where he could. Lyra allowed him access to parts of the palace that few outsiders ever saw. They shared quiet conversations, discussing philosophy, strategy, and history. She began to teach him about Zephyra's culture, while he shared stories of Earth and humanity. The Queen's advisors were cautious, yet even they could not deny Alex's intelligence and courage. He was not just a visitor, he was a bridge between worlds. Humans, they began to realize, were not to be underestimated. Lyra, too, felt a change within herself. She had ruled with wisdom and authority, but her life had been lonely. Now she found herself intrigued by Alex, not only because of his courage, but because he saw her differently than others. He treated her as a person, not a symbol of power. One evening, as they walked along a bridge overlooking a glowing river, Lyra spoke quietly. You have done something few can, Captain Ryder. You have earned my attention. That is dangerous in a palace like this. Alex glanced at her. I do not seek danger, Your Majesty. I only seek understanding. I believe that learning about each other is how we survive, how we grow stronger. Lyra smiled faintly. Perhaps I am learning that humans are more remarkable than I believed. And perhaps I am learning to trust one again. Alex felt a thrill at her words. Trust was not given lightly in her world, and yet she was showing it to him. He had faced her trials, proven himself, and now was slowly forming a bond with the most powerful being he had ever met. A moment of connection. One night, as the palace quieted and the twin moons rose, Alex wandered into the garden alone. Lyra appeared silently beside him. They walked together in silence, enjoying the calm. You are different from all others I have known, Lyra said softly. You do not fear me. You do not pretend. You are human yet remarkable. Alex smiled. I try to do what humans do best. We survive, we adapt, and we face challenges with courage. And yet we try to understand those around us. That is how we build bonds. Lyra studied him, and for a long moment her expression softened. Perhaps you are not like other humans. Perhaps your kind has more to offer the galaxy than I imagined. Alex felt his heart beat faster. He had impressed the Queen, gained her trust, and begun forming a subtle connection. He realized that humans' courage, intelligence, and willpower could not only survive the galaxy, they could inspire even the most powerful beings in it. As they walked, Alex whispered softly, almost to himself, She's truly the most stunning queen I've ever seen. Lyra's gaze met his, and for the first time she allowed a small, genuine smile to grace her lips. It was faint, almost imperceptible, yet full of warmth. Alex knew in that moment that something extraordinary was beginning, a bond between human courage and alien royalty that could one day change everything. Life in Queen. Lyra's palace had grown calmer after the trials. Captain Alex Ryder continued to explore, learn, and bond with the Queen. But the quiet did not last long. One morning, a messenger arrived from the outer palace walls reporting urgent news. A rival alien empire, the Korath Dominion, was advancing towards Zephyra. Their goal was clear. They intended to conquer the planet and overthrow the Queen. Lyra's expression darkened. The Korath Dominion, she said quietly, her golden eyes sharp with focus. They are ruthless. Their fleet numbers in the thousands, and they show no mercy. Alex stepped forward. Your Majesty, we need a plan. They may expect traditional defenses, but humans have unconventional strategies. I can help, Lyra regarded him carefully. Humans had proven their courage and intelligence, but she wondered if one human could truly make a difference against an entire alien empire. Still, something about Alex inspired confidence. Perhaps the unpredictability of his kind could turn the tide. You will lead a small team, she said. Humans and select warriors from my guard. You will prepare defenses, but remember, failure is not an option. Zephyra's survival depends on it. Alex nodded firmly. I understand. I'll do everything I can. Planning the defense, Alex and his team quickly moved to the strategic hall, a massive chamber filled with holographic maps of the planet, orbital satellites, and enemy fleet positions. He studied the Korath Dominion's approach carefully. Their ships were advanced but predictable in formation, relying on brute force and sheer numbers rather than creativity. That's where humans excel, Alex said to Lyra's advisors. They expect a traditional defense, but if we use the planet's natural terrain and combine it with unexpected strategies, we can make them pay for every step. The advisors looked skeptical, but Alex continued. We can lure their fleet into the canyon network near the southern mountains. The ships will have... The skies above Zephyra had cleared, but the planet still bore the scars of battle. Craters marked the once glowing forests, and the air smelled faintly of energy discharge from the defensive drones. Yet despite the destruction, life persisted. Glowing flowers began to bloom again, and the rivers shimmered under the twin suns. Captain Alex Ryder stood on the palace balcony, gazing at the horizon. The Korath Dominion fleet had retreated, but their presence had left a lasting impression. The Queen had praised his bravery and he had earned her trust. Yet Alex knew the galaxy was vast and threats could return at any moment. Humans thrived in uncertainty, but even he felt the weight of responsibility pressing down. Lyra approached silently, her golden eyes reflecting both concern and admiration. Captain Ryder, you have done more than I could have imagined. Zephyra stands because of you. Alex turned toward her, bowing slightly. Your Majesty. I only did what humans do best. We survive, we adapt, and we protect. That is all. Lyra studied him for a long moment. You are unlike anyone I have ever met. Most creatures would have faltered. Most rulers would have doubted themselves. But you, she paused, her gaze softening. You inspire confidence, courage, and trust. Alex felt a warmth in his chest. He had faced countless dangers, yet nothing compared to the feeling of respect and acknowledgement from this alien queen. Thank you, Your Majesty. That means more than you know. A new threat emerges. Even as they spoke, alarms blared across the palace. Lyra's advisors rushed in, reporting that a small but highly trained strike force from the Korath Dominion had infiltrated the outer perimeter. Their goal was clear. They had returned, this time to target the palace itself. Lyra's expression hardened. They are persistent and ruthless. Captain Ryder, I fear they will not stop until Zephyra is theirs. Alex nodded, already calculating strategies in his mind. We'll stop them. Humans thrive in situations others see as impossible. We'll turn their strengths against them, Your Majesty. Lyra allowed a faint smile. I am beginning to see why humans are remarkable. You do not falter even when danger is close. Alex quickly assembled a small team of human and alien warriors. Using his knowledge of the palace layout, he devised a plan to trap the Korath infiltrators before they could reach the Queen. Every corridor, every door, every energy pulse became part of his strategy. The palace defense. The Korath strike team moved silently through the palace, unaware that Alex had anticipated their path. As they approached the throne room, hidden defense systems activated, energy barriers, force fields, and automated drones created obstacles that slowed the intruders. Alex led his team with precision, coordinating movements like a conductor with an orchestra. Every trap, every maneuver was calculated, yet flexible, because humans excelled at improvising when things went wrong. At one point, the intruders attempted to breach a secondary hall, expecting the defenses to fail. Alex had anticipated this. Using a combination of agility, strategy, and intuition, he trapped them between walls of energy and cornered them without bloodshed. Lyra observed from a protected chamber, her heart racing. She had faced many threats in her long reign, but Alex's bravery and quick thinking impressed her more than any warrior she had ever commanded. Humans, she realized, were more than survivors. They were masters of adaptation and courage. A personal risk. Suddenly, one of the intruders slipped past a force field and charged directly toward Lyra's chamber. Alex reacted instantly. He sprinted, energy rifle raised, positioning himself between the intruder and the Queen. In a swift, precise move, he disabled the attacker, saving Lyra from potential harm. You risked yourself for me," Lyra whispered, her voice shaking slightly with emotion. Alex shrugged lightly, his calm demeanor masking the adrenaline. "Your life matters, Your Majesty. If you fall, Zephyra falls." "I could not allow that." Lyra's golden eyes softened as she looked at him. "You are extraordinary. Humans are not what I expected. Your courage, intelligence, and will, All of it is unlike anything I have seen. Alex felt a quiet pride. He had proven that humans were not just brave, they were capable of protecting and inspiring others. Even in worlds far from Earth, victory secured. By the time the sun set over Zephyra, the strike team was neutralized. The palace remained intact and Queen Lyra was safe. The Korath Dominion, having underestimated human ingenuity and courage, was forced to retreat once more. Lyra approached Alex in the aftermath, standing amid the soft glow of the palace gardens. Captain Ryder, your actions today have changed my perspective on your species. Humans are more than I imagined. You are more than I imagined. Alex nodded, his chest swelling with pride. I only did what humans do best. We survive, we adapt, and we protect. That is all I know how to do. Lyra smiled faintly, a warmth in her expression that had never appeared before. You have my respect? And something more. Curiosity, perhaps even admiration. Alex's heart raced. Respect from a being as powerful and intelligent as Lyra was an honor. But admiration, that was something deeper, something personal. He realized that humans could leave a lasting impact on even the most powerful beings in the galaxy. A growing trust in. The following days, Lyra allowed Alex more freedom within the palace. They spent hours walking in the gardens, observing the twin moons and discussing philosophy, history, and strategy. Alex learned about the weight of leadership, the burden of responsibility, and the sacrifices Lyra had made for her people. Lyra, in turn, learned about humanity, their resilience, their creativity, and their ability to inspire loyalty and courage. She found herself drawn to Alex not just for his abilities, but for his integrity, honesty, and bravery. One evening, as they walked along a balcony overlooking the glowing forests, Lyra spoke softly. Humans, you are unpredictable. You act without fear, yet with wisdom. It is remarkable, Alex smiled. We survive by learning, by adapting, and by standing together. And sometimes, we inspire others without even trying. Lyra's eyes met his, and for the first time she allowed a small, genuine smile to grace her lips. It was faint, but full of warmth. Alex knew that humans had once again proven their worth, not through force alone, but through courage, intelligence, and heart. The spark of something more. As they stood together, Alex whispered softly, almost to himself, She's truly the most stunning queen I've ever seen. Lyra glanced at him, and for the first time there was a hint of acknowledgement in her gaze, a recognition that went beyond respect or admiration. It was subtle, but it marked the beginning of something extraordinary between them. Humans were often underestimated in the galaxy. Fragile in appearance, they were dismissed by many as weak or simple, but Alex had shown that humans could change outcomes, inspire loyalty, and even earn the trust of powerful beings like Queen Lyra. And somewhere in the quiet of the palace, the bond between human and queen began to grow, a bond that would shape the future not just of Zephyra, but perhaps the entire galaxy. The palace of Zephyra glowed softly under the twin moons. The recent battles with the Korath Dominion had left marks, yet life persisted. Glowing flowers bloomed, rivers shimmered, and the air seemed to hum with quiet energy. Captain Alex Ryder stood in the garden reflecting on everything that had happened. He had faced trials, survived deadly challenges, and defended the Queen and her planet. Humans had shown their strength and ingenuity once again. Queen Lyra approached silently, her golden eyes fixed on him. Her presence was calm but commanding, and yet there was a softness in her gaze that Alex had not seen before. Captain Ryder, she said quietly, you have proven yourself in ways few could. You have shown courage, wisdom, and heart, but now, I must ask something more. Alex turned to her, attentive. Anything, Your Majesty? Lyra hesitated, searching for the right words. You have fought for Zephyra. You have saved my life and the lives of countless others. You have adapted where others would fail, and you have earned my trust. That is why I ask. Would you consider something beyond duty? Something personal? Alex's pulse quickened. He had felt a connection growing, subtle yet undeniable. He nodded slowly. I am listening, Your Majesty. Lyra took a deep breath. I have ruled for centuries and I have known many beings. But none have impressed me or moved me as you have. Your courage, your heart, your humanity. It has left a mark. Captain Ryder, I wish to know if you would stand by me. Not just as protector, but as companion. Alex's eyes widened. He had imagined this moment in whispers and fleeting thoughts, yet now it was real. Lyra, he stopped, considering his words carefully. Humans often acted boldly, but some decisions required more than instinct, they required honesty. I would be honored to stand by you, to protect you, and to share in whatever comes. I would do so gladly. Lyra's golden eyes shimmered with emotion. Then the choice is yours, Alex Rider, to remain a visitor, or to join me, as partner, as ally, as something more. A test of character before Alex could respond. The palace security alert rang. A final wave of Korath saboteurs had infiltrated the outer grounds, seeking to exploit any perceived weakness. Alex didn't hesitate. Even in the face of a personal revelation, his human instincts and sense of duty kicked in. Stay here, Your Majesty, he said firmly. I will handle this. Lyra hesitated, then nodded. I trust you, Alex. Alex moved swiftly, coordinating with his team. Using traps, clever tactics, and precise main,